Don't calculate the future in advance. The winner calculates while running, but the loser is busy calculating even before running. Have we ever felt that our lives were hopeless? We plan and act accordingly, but our future is unknown. In response, the author of SayNo says this: don't calculate the future in advance. We judge the future based on the present we are living now. This is a very silly idea, and the author also regrets the life he has lived that way. Then I'll go into the book. Why do we despair? Because we calculate the future situation in advance. In light of the present situation, I give up by calculating in advance that I will not be successful in 10 years, that I will not be able to pay off my debt in 5 years, and that I will not live like others with my current salary. I give a hopeless number to my future life by beating the calculator in advance that I will live in poverty forever because I am poor now, just like I did. But isn't it too quick to calculate if we conclude that there is no hope because this, and that the situation will be this and that in 5 or 10 years? How dare a fortune teller see through and calculate the future, which is the realm of God, by himself when he does not know his future? When I was in the sound equipment business more than a decade ago, I took a young employee from Go to the rooftop of a high-rise building and showed him the night street. I once asked him, "You don't look like you have a place to go in and rest among those matchboxes, do you?" He, as I have done in the past, was despairing at the same that is. The story I'm telling you now is also what I told the employee. People said, "You can do it," but I had nothing to do. I didn't know what to do. In life, there are times when it seems like nothing will work even if you do it. There are desperate times when you want to give up everything because you don't see any alternative, like a dark tunnel. If disappointment and frustration with reality continue to accumulate in despair, you may be tempted to commit suicide. In such a case, suicide is not an insignificant act of randomness, but rather is mistakenly regarded as a way out of an individual's suffering, crisis situation or loss. I had that misunderstanding. However, Robert Schuller says that even if you are falling from a cliff, you can never do anything. It is falling, so why not fly to the sky? I also only started flapping my wings into the world with my thin arms toward all strength while falling like that. That's why I like the saying, "There are wings in falling." A person who has never experienced despair does not know how to flap his wings. Fortunately, there is no bottom in the valley of despair. No matter how deep you fall, there is no despair in this world that will break us. It is only ourselves that destroys us. Have you seen the movie Trainspotting, which depicts the daily lives of drug addicts? Trainspotting was coined just after trains first opened in England, and is a game in which people gather on a train station platform and guess the numbers of trains entering the station. John Hodge, the playwright of the film, said, "People who play these games, train spotters, can refer to people who have the behavior of trying to correct something." In a world full of chaos, not just young people in England, but all young people living in the present. After all, the movie gives this meaning. Life depends on us, but we don't know the numbers of our lives. But we just play the game of guessing the numbers. To become rich, You must never substitute your present situation into future equations. Never do such a thing. No one knows the number of lives that come to us like a train-spotting game. In the old days of the spring and autumn warring states era in China, there was a man who rose from the paddy fields to the king, and it was common for Muhi, who was dancing on the market street, to become an empress overnight. No one had ever thought that I would live rich because I was so desperate. It's often a matter of time before people sell. Therefore, just read a book and accumulate knowledge, so that something new can happen one day in your future by calculating the future in advance. Don't even think of things like, what's the point of learning and using this? What's the point of doing this? It is also a foolish thing to substitute the present time into future equations. And it is nothing more than an excuse that the losers enjoyed using. However, regardless of what you learn or do it properly with a heart that vomits blood like crazy. Only then will the future slowly begin to open that dark bar. And soon you will shed tears of emotion under the intense sunlight shining over it. If you've lived for so many years, and there's no change, you've just gone the wrong way because you've numbered your life. Don't despair on the wrong path. Turn on your blinkers quickly and change your way. That's where your new life runs frighteningly fast. Why can't people believe what I've already experienced? These doubts are a common characteristic of the poor, who must calculate the future in advance to be fulfilled. The winner starts to calculate the bill, but the loser is busy calculating the bill first before even running. Did you enjoy it? The author mentions an example of accepting the methodology he presented to the reader, who received the email at the end of the chapter. Most of us live in the present, always worried about the future. However, the author says that do not commit the folly of despair by guessing in advance, and prepare properly with a blood-spitting mind. Just as successful people emphasize practice, the author also tells us not to calculate, but to practice. If our lives are hopeless, what will the future look like? Will it remain the same? I hope you think about it calmly. Subscribe and like are a big help in making videos.